Heyo everybody, it's Audrey Berm at Audrey Lynn Studios on the west side of Canada near Vancouver. So I have a glaze-along for you, and it was in my last kiln opening for this frozen pond bowl. So I use the frozen pond technique for this. This is the outside, and this is the inside. Okay, so let's go. All right, here's a large bowl that I threw with Plainsman 370 white stoneware. Nice bowl. I was happy with it. So first thing I'm going to do is just give it a little bit of a damp sponge. On the outside here. Ooh, just fits on there. Okay. See here I have some of my, I can try and sand away now. Probably better if I take a Dremel to it, but yeah, maybe I'll do that. Be right back. Okay, so I'm going to put 2 coats of Spectrum's Holly Green, and it is 1111 is the number. Oops, this one's a little bit funny on it dried on the plastic. Okay, that's okay. I also have a new pot. Okay. Okay. Now, lots of people have done the frozen pond technique before. So, but I still get lots of people asking me for a glaze-along for this one. I think I'm gonna have to open up my new pot. Just let's just put this one first layer on of this pot. Yep, got some crunchies on there. We don't want crunchies. Okay. All right, so now I'm just going to go pick off some of those crunchies that were on there. Which will be fine. Oh dear, I forgot my mic. I always do that. Okay, good. That's coat number 1. Okay, I have my mic. Some say they like it with the mic, some say they don't. I don't know. Maybe I just don't have to work as hard if I have a mic on. So this is a new pot of Holly Green. Come on. Nice if it came off without flicking me in the face. That would be good. Okay, let's stick that there. And we're going to stir this just in case it's not all, oh, it is. It's all blended. That is beautiful. All right. So, and it's a lot thinner. Anyway, okay, so let's put the second coat of this on. Oh, that feels good. So you guys can share what your favorite frozen pond combo is. And I'm just going to say, like I usually do, that I am doing this in real time. If I am boring you or you just want to skip ahead, then you just go to that little settings gear and adjust your playback speed. All right, there we go. And we'll let that one dry too. Okay, since we have the holly green brush going, we're just going to turn this over. I'm just going to give this a little bit of a sponge just so it's not so thick with on the rim there. Just from the glaze dripping down the sides and then settling on the rim. I just want to even that out a bit. There we go. Okay. So first coat, I'm just going to give this holly green another stir. All right, let's let that dry. Okay, let's put on another coat of holly green. Spectrum dries pretty quick if you've never used Spectrum. And so, yeah, you can work pretty quick with it. They have some beautiful, beautiful colors. And they're Canadian, which is kind of nice. Okay, let's let that dry. And we'll put our holly green away. All right, so now I'm just going to divide the bowl into sections. Let's see if I can get it in frame here. And I'm just going to eyeball it. I know we're going to go right in front of me here, and then I'm going to cross section that. And then halfway in between that. And halfway in between here. So now we have 8 sections, and then I'm going to do it one more time. There. Excellent. Now you can also mark where you want your dots to be placed from the top. So let's see, say like this, something like that anyway. Yeah, and then maybe something like this. It doesn't matter if you put that in and then don't do what you've marked, right? You might change your mind. All right, so now we're using running hot chowder, and that is 1173, and it is very runny. Do you see that? So to make it easier on myself, I usually pour it into a plate first. Usually not this big of a plate, but that's okay, we can. Or get a spoon or whatever. And I'm going to start with my large brush, and these I'll leave a link for. And then you want to just get that worked into that sponge. So if you can see that if you put that right in your pot and then onto your plate, it would be too saturated. Even this, you really got to be careful. So let's put it right here. And it's a very light touch that I'm doing. If I push down too hard, it'll run. Okay? Now, yeah, that's not full coverage, but it's okay. It works. It works. And you might find that once you get started here, yeah, well, that line wasn't as even. It doesn't matter. I find that it always works out anyway. It's not a big deal. In fact, usually I end up just eyeballing it one after the other, but for a tutorial. Okay, so you can dump your sponge in that pot, but then just make sure you're getting it all out on the plate. There we go. Let's get a little bit more on there. Yeah, good. Look like a bunch of moons. All right, so we'll come back to that. But now I'm going to go to, so that was this one. Now I'm going to go to this one. And I'm working it into okay, I'm just going to go grab a spoon. It just really is better. There it is. Okay. Okay, I'm just going to spoon it onto my plate. Take my little sponge, get it worked in there, and go in between. That's usually all I do. You can get really fancy doing all sorts of things. I mean, using all sorts of diameters and so on, but I just tend to do these too. Works fine enough. Okay, need some more on there. There.
So now I'm going to go back because it's pretty much dry up here. I'm going to go back and do a second coat. There. And then the next one. There. So that's usually what I do, but hey, let's use this one. And I'm just going to put it at the very top, in between. Doesn't matter if it's squished in there. Okay, and then we're going to go back and do another coat that's not quite dry yet, so just a sec. Okay, second coat. There.
Next up is texture kiwi fruit, 1140. So let's see if we need to stir that. Here. No, it's all good. Still, always a good idea to stir. So now I'm going to turn it back over. And I didn't do running hot chowder on the outside. You certainly can. I would keep it right to the top of the bowl. But I find that holly green and texture kiwi fruit is beautiful all by itself. I've had people say, I know you look, I noticed you go all the way to the bottom of the bowl. And yes, I do. And that's because I don't like my clay showing. So what I do is I put a smaller cookie on the foot like this, and then I set the whole thing on a bigger cookie. So it raises the bowl and won't stick to my kiln shelf then. If it does drip, it usually does not drip. If it does drip, then I can just grind the glaze off. And that way I can glaze all the way to the bottom of my bowls and mugs and all my pieces. Okay. That's
coat number 1 on the outside of textured kiwi fruit. Okay, one more coat of textured kiwi fruit on the back. All right, we'll let this dry, but I will just clean the bottom off. Okay, nice clean bottom. So, oops, came out. There we go. All right. So now we're going to put a coat of textured kiwi fruit right on top of all of this. By all means, let me know what combinations you like. There seems to be a lot out there. Of course, this one is my favorite, but I have tried a couple others. And all of these pencil marks will burn out, so there's no problem with that. All right, we'll let that one dry. Okay, last coat of textured kiwi fruit. So my next firing is going to be a slow cool to 2200 top temperature, where I'll hold it for 10 minutes and then drop it to 1900 and hold it there for 30 minutes. And that is on my website. There's a couple firings on my website that I use, which is audreylynnstudiios.com. And but this works really well when I do a straight 6. I have not tried it on a straight 5, to admit that, but I really find it hard to believe that it wouldn't work very well on just a straight 5. Okay, there we go. There. I'll just let that to dry thoroughly and then pop it in again. It turned out a little bit differently than it normally does. So it's 370. And this here, I want to show you the outside. This always works this way, which I just love. This is 2 times Spectrum's Holly Green and 2 times Spectrum's Texture Kiwi Fruit. It's so beautiful. The inside is a frozen pond, and so it is 2 times holly green, 2 times dots of running hot chowder by Spectrum, and then 2 times texture kiwi fruit by Spectrum. And I did film this one. It's just coming still. Usually it's not so blue, but I mean, it's beautiful for sure. Yeah, nice. This is just my fave. It's my fave. I love it.
Okay, so I hope you enjoyed the Glaze-Along. A few people asked me for it, and I was happy to do it, of course, because it's one of my favorites. This color is one of my favorites. So, and if you don't understand anything, just let me know in the comments. You leave me comments anyway, right? You know what to do. Okay, thanks so much for joining me and hanging out. Peace out.